Death to Aaron!
No, my Pokeball got hit on the thing and it hurt.
We heard that his ball hurt.
No, it hurt my Pokeball.
Hey guys, crew Blind Wave! We're the women! I'm Melanie.
You need to work on your intro. I'm Aaron.
No one cares about you. Today we're watching Doctor Who, Series 11, Episode 8. Last time we had a very Doctor Who feeling episode.
It was good. It was very like, I don't know, but we had the whole robot-y guys. And
That blam!
We went somewhere, they were delivering packages and stuff.
Which, Aaron loved his packages. But the kerblam I thought was gonna mean, like, the robots.
I thought it was going to be an old Nickelodeon show.
I never watched Nickelodeon. We had antenna growing up.
That was kablam.
It was free.
We had some references to old Who stuff with the Fez and the Wasp and all that kind of stuff. So that was good. And overall it was a good show.
Yeah, I loved it. I think we had a poll.
Oh, I gotta open it. For 11-7, we had a poll that said, do you think this doctor has finally recovered from the Time War?
Oh yeah, that's right.
31% said no, it is still haunting her, while 68% said yes, she has moved on. And our comments are, Hoovy Vortex says she's definitely moved right on away from it, but I'd say the Time War changed her as a character for the better, and there's definitely still some echoes there in her entire personality.
Yeah. It's a good way of explaining it.
Patrick says, I believe she has, in my opinion, especially after 12's run with the Time Lords during Hellbent and Heaven Sent.
Yeah.
The Doctor knows that Gallifrey is still safe out there somewhere. Plus, at the time, he felt no guilt to do what he had to do to save Clara. Kevin says, what Time War? Stormwolf says, it's still there, I think, but thanks to Moffat retconning the ending of it, the Doctor doesn't feel it as badly as she used to a few lifetimes ago. Maybe Stormwolf, but like what Zen says here, I think the resolution to the arc was in the 50th anniversary where he changed his history from destroying Gallifrey to saving Gallifrey. So I think that does have a good point to where now it doesn't haunt the Doctor as much because they know the truth of it is actually that they were able to save it.
Yeah.
As someone had said, Ryan, the 9th, 10th, and 11th Doctors were all dealing with anger and guilt over being the last Time Lord as a result of the war. After the Doctor learned that he wasn't the last, and he had saved his planet, that anger and guilt faded. The Doctor's hate of the Daleks predates the Time War, so it will always be there. I think that was a good one of what Ryan said. So it's not a haunting matter anymore because they know that there was a huge war, but they were able to save Gallifrey in some sense.
Yeah, and all the hatred that was there before is still there.
So that was the poll that we had. Make sure you guys stick around to the end of this episode for this episode's poll.
Aaron loves polls. I know, right?
Witchfinders.
Yo, the hipster pop-up happening.
Why don't they change clothes?
Apple bobbing! I love apple bobbing!
Who was that? Look at that guy. Creepy
it's one of
bird
those bird
mask
masks.
man.
Do not interfere with the fundamental fabric of history.
That's what you always say. You guys always interfere.
I know, right? It's creepy.
You guys are coward.
If you drown, you are innocent.
Well, that's
horrible?
terrible.
Survive, you are a witch and shall be hanged.
So either way I die and good. Live and die.
Is she alive?
Turn her head. CPR.
She's dead.
Now we have no way of knowing if Mother Twiston was a witch or not.
She died. What do you mean?
I'll tell you who I am.
Her
Oh,
paper.
no.
Her psychic paper.
Ah!
Man.
Go away, Calvin.
It's a girl. Is it a girl?
It's Calvin.
Guy? Well, then we don't know.
Why are you walking? Where are the horses?
They are creatures of Satan.
What?
I had them all shot.
What? That is That's ridiculous.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
In the Old Testament. There's a twist in the sequel, love thy neighbour, which is why we...
Who is this?
I have come to your rescue.
King James.
What?
Forgive the mask. I have enemies everywhere and have to travel incognito. Also, I rather like the drama. Witchfinder's assistant. So you must be the Witchfinder General. A woman could never be the general.
Silly me. Must have got all confused. Mustn't it? Set a woman to catch a woman.
A cunning ruse using your innate aptitude for nosiness and gossip. What is your field of expertise, my Nubian prince?
Ooh.
I think there's
He's
a
putting
thing
the
going
moves on.
Together we shall save the souls of my people from Satan, even if it means killing them all.
That may be just what she does.
That's why no one's ever heard of it.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Whoa! What is that?
She beats it with the shovel.
Well, to be fair to King James, you are snooping.
I'm investigating.
Whoa.
An axe.
Oh.
Here you are. I've been creeping around this place.
How did she get back so fast?
Torture implements, charms, and a wide selection of body parts. Here,
He's the real witch.
belong to my firm. Who saved my life in Berwick, then later betrayed me, so I had him shot. I'll be keeping an eye on you.
I don't trust him. You trust him?
I don't know, but I love this actor.
That's my pricker.
It's like a huge needle, Aaron.
Not bleed if her mark is pricked.
Every last witch in this village shall be destroyed.
Alright.
Yeah, my grandmother's. She made medicines to help people.
Oh, that's why she was a witch.
Maybe she was ashamed of the woman who brought her up.
Wait, you and Becca are
What?
family?
Granny said it was only a matter of time before they turned on us.
Wow.
Stand up to Becca Savage and we'll make this place safe again.
We do that.
Ah, we! That's good, Willa!
My father was murdered by my mother, who was then imprisoned and beheaded.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
Okay, that's worse.
There have been numerous attempts to kidnap me, kill me, or blow me up. It's a miracle I'm still alive. Now, we can have some fun. Eh, Ryan?
Hey, right.
I don't like this guy.
What aren't you telling me?
It's moving.
I'm no longer disappointed. I think this is some kind of alien matter. I'm not sure if it's sentient.
What's
Is there a
behind
mud
them?
monster? Mud monster?
What's behind you?
Oh, the grandmother?
Not to kill her, but to bill her.
Ooh.
Right, how are you under pressure?
Huh. Blech, blech, she's gonna puke. She's gonna puke.
Doctor?
More bodies? More bodies? Oh.
I can talk.
It's saying the same prayer.
What do you know, Becca?
Ooh.
That's why it's happening today, because you are here, as you say, to take over this village.
You know that's not
She flipped that real quick.
She was trying to save us, sire.
Thank you, Willa.
Are you sure you're not mistaken, Willa? Or are you in league with the witches as I
I was gonna say, she's gonna accuse both of them.
Whatever I have done, I did to save all of our souls.
Oh, shut up.
She's gonna turn on her.
I didn't think it was strange when they said her name was the Doctor.
Like Dr. D, a necromancer.
What?
That seals it.
Oh my gosh. Ah!
He's still wearing this hat.
Pretty painful. Not to tie a knot in this part of the world.
I am an expert on witchcraft, Doctor.
Because you are Satan.
I am King James, Satan's greatest foe.
Yeah, I know. It must be comforting playing that role. Hiding behind a title.
Just as you hide behind Doctor, perhaps.
Walking with the hands behind their backs.
I know, it's like anime running, but slower.
I do not know what you are. There is only one way to be certain. Guards, summon the villagers!
Alright.
Must be why Becca has the axe. It's Speaking of which, in here.
Someone has the axe.
Wait, it's Granny.
Are they after her because she killed all of them? Does it have to do with the father? Like the husband or whatever that died? Left her the estate?
Ugh, I don't care. They're freaky. Oh.
Come on. What was that?
That was coming from the river.
Run!
The doctor wouldn't let that happen.
Unless the doctor's being ducked.
Dr. Witch.
Ah, dang it. Oh, what's going on?
The leader of the mud people?
She's the witch.
She let the mud in. It filled her up.
She's gone. Ah, the doctor is like Houdini.
Looking for me, Doctor. I just couldn't hold in my breath and getting out of chains.
Houdini.
Ugh.
Stop, just stop.
Hey, listen.
Yeah. Ugh. She's gonna puke it up.
I cut down her favourite tree.
Huh? What tree?
The holly tree.
It pricked.
Cannot fight it because you are the witch.
I have let Satan in.
Really? Took you this long to cut off the leg.
Happening.
Look at how happy she looks.
Oh no, she does so evil good.
Morax.
Pendle Hill is a prison for an alien army.
Oh, well, it's obvious when you put it like that.
We shall be free to fill all of you.
Sounds dirty.
With rage
Because they're mud.
and force.
Come on, Witchfinder.
What?
Come on, which one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing happened to all of us.
Don't tell me they're all filled.
It's ancient alien technology.
That's why it shocked her when she touched it.
Broken anti-Morax weapons.
Oh.
One more thing, Doc.
You wear this hat.
Find the general back in command.
Hey, she got a torch too? Green flame, I like it. Yeah. I love it. It looks cool. Ooh. There we go. Now we just have dead bodies.
Yeah.
Find a way.
Okay. Was that good or bad?
He feels proud of himself.
Even the name Bilehurst shall be erased from all records.
Oh, okay, so there's that.
Come back to London with me, Ryan. Be my protector.
We will strike down upon thee with great vengeance.
And furious anger.
Ezekiel.
Tarantino.
Yep. Pulp Fiction.
Where did they go?
Where'd you think?
Magic.
That was a fun episode. I enjoyed it.
Did you? It was weird because it was going. I wasn't sure if it was gonna try to be like a historical kind of thing.
Yeah, like the Rosa and the the partition one, Punjab.
Yeah, the India one.
Yeah.
So like, this one kind of had a little bit more sci-fi, I think, than like the India one did.
Yeah.
Or the Rosa one did too. Like, this one had like the witchcraft thing was all based on some kind of weird mud alien monsters being released from some kind of prison in the ground.
Well, which was during the witch trial era, but then they're like, oh, why you have not heard of this area is because it was wiped from history. And I like that explanation, is that, you know, it was gone. It's not history because it never was history.
Yeah, you have the whole thing though where it's like, so was it not in the future whenever he did the tour because they had always done this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, same argument that we have every week.
One of those things.
Same argument that we always have with time travel in general. So we just don't have a brain to grasp it yet.
I was curious on what they were going to do with the Doctor here, because the one thing to start off with, I guess, is that they are touching on, like, you have a woman doctor. What trouble are you going to get in there? Like she said, if I was a bloke, this wouldn't be going on. I'd just do this and things would be fine.
Yep.
But then I was also curious if they were going in a damsel in distress thing with, like, her being tied up and captured and whatnot. And I was trying to think, like, have we had times when the Doctor has been out of control? Because I always picture, like, the Doctor has a plan, he knows what he's doing, you know, and usually the companions get in trouble when he saves the companions.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, when the Master showed up and he got turned into a weird little, like, house elf. Remember that?
Yeah, I've forgotten about that.
But before all that, he went through that and endured it because he told Martha, spread my name or whatever, and to give him energy and did all that kind of stuff. So he had a plan all along, I guess. But it went, you know, that way. And I was trying to think of, like, other moments when the Doctor was not in control and he had to have, like, his companions save him. Because, like, even the Pandorica is so weird because he gets locked in the Pandorica, but then he saves himself from the Pandorica.
Yeah.
You know? So there's a weird, like, loop thing of, like, he's out of it doing stuff to get himself out of it, you know?
So, but really, she was not, you know, not in control because she knew that she could free herself.
She did get out of it when she was under the water and stuff. So, like, even still, she wasn't, like, a damsel in distress. She didn't need to be saved. But I was trying to think of moments when the Doctor was in trouble that he had to be saved. And I really can't think of any. Like, I feel like he's always had some kind of plan where it wasn't like this person is what saved him, you know? This companion saved his life. You know what I mean?
I guess the closest situations that, which one was it, Hellbent? Where it's like a million years it took him to save himself because he wasn't in control.
Yeah, but, like, that his plan worked.
But he had a plan.
He did it, you know? Like, he
eventually did it, but I think that's the most not in control. Because he had to relive from the beginning and rediscover how to find it. But...
like, even the Doctor dying with the Impossible Astronaut and stuff. Once you go through and stuff, you find out that they have a fake one and stuff, and he never really dies, and he's, like, inside himself. You know, like
because
the little robot, like, people inside the things, right? Isn't that what they did with that?
Knew about it.
So, I mean, there's just... I keep trying to think, and I can't think of one right away. And I'm just like, well, if that's how they did all those, I'm hoping they never really go that route with this, you know? I always like the Doctor being, like, clever enough to come up with an escape or not fully be out of control, but has a plan to either...
But we think that she's not in control.
Yeah, I mean, there's been problems when the Doctor, you know, is in trouble.
Yeah.
And, like, doesn't know how to solve the issues and stuff. But I don't think he's ever been, like, at the whim of, you know, well, there's nothing I can do. I need the companions to save me. You know what I mean? Unless he set that in motion. Like the house elf thing I said.
Yeah.
He did need the companion Martha to save him. And everything to go through with that, you know, but he kind of set that in motion
and
had the
plan.
It, you know, for it to happen. So, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of some things like that. I don't know. Maybe the first episode when Rose, didn't she, like, swing around and save him by kicking some of the Nestine off the railing or something? Have a hold of him? I can't remember. Anyway, I was curious with that, and I was just watching them, like, had her tied up and stuff. I'm like, I hope they don't take her and turn her into, like, a damsel in distress sometimes because we have a woman Doctor now or something, you know? I want her to still just be as capable as the other Doctors.
Now, in this situation, I was kind of surprised with, you know, her being a woman that, like, we had a woman mayor, mistress of the...
Someone, like, leading the land.
And then the king was more than willing to accept that. But a woman witchfinder...
Well, a general.
General woman.
Maybe it could have been because of the general thing. Like,
or maybe because Graham was there with her and she couldn't be directly ahead of the males.
I don't know.
I liked how she handled that. I'm sorry, I think I got confused. Like, just blew it off. Okay, whatever. I got confused. My bad. But she did too, you know, because that's what she read.
Exactly.
And I did like how they, like, every episode they walk out of the TARDIS in their old clothes, their usual clothes. And I'm always like, Okay, why is this not a bigger issue?
Well, they never really change her clothes in Doctor Who, do they?
With
Every once
Clara
in a
they
while
did a
they
lot
have, I
because,
guess,
because they're like, oh, well, the TARDIS has this huge closet.
Wardrobe thing,
Yeah. So
They've done it
change your
some,
clothes.
But I mean, the Doctor usually goes out wearing whatever it is that he's wearing, you know?
Peter Capaldi changed his clothes a lot with Clara, and Matt Smith did too.
No, Matt Smith hasn't changed it that much. He's only... He changed his outfit in general. About halfway through season 6 with like a coat and stuff like that, kind of changed his look, but he's always kind of had...
I mean, he tossed on a different hat, but if you look at male clothing throughout all the years, it's pretty much the same. Like if a guy went out in tux, there'd be like, oh, okay, he's in a tux. This is very good looking. The showmanship on that is amazing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like...
But with the women throughout the generations, like, it's completely off the wall different.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Rose, when she went... Okay, how
They
about
didn't
this?
really hit it much with Rose. It was a lot with Clara.
I'm trying to think of what she wore in
And
the Christopher
Martha.
Dickens episode. You know what I mean?
And which one?
Christopher Dickens. Remember that? With the Gelth, I think they called him. The Geth?
I think you're right, Gil.
I should have had it here somewhere.
But she ended up changing her clothing in that episode, too, because they, made comments about it. Because she came out at first, like herself, and then she went back in, and then didn't she wear that hat with the feather coming off of it?
Maybe. I don't know. I guess they could change more and stuff like that too. But I feel like there's been both ways. They've had many episodes when they've changed their clothes, and they've had many episodes where they just didn't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. This whole season, no one's changed their clothes though. But I liked anyway.
Well, sometimes they don't have time, or they're just in their normal area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just maybe the India one. They should have changed their clothes. Maybe not. The Amazon warehouse place I don't think mattered.
Amazon warehouse.
The one we just Kablam.
Oh.
I don't think that one really mattered too much. The first episode they were home. The Spider episode they were home. You know, those ones didn't matter.
The Rosa, which Rosa made comments about their outfits, and I like how that's what my point has very roundabout meeting back to. My point was that they did address it in this, because I was like, why don't they just have psychic clothes? They have psychic paper. The TARDIS can make them speak any different language. Why aren't their clothing just psychic? But in this episode, they're like, oh, they have to be witches because their clothing is weird.
Did they say that?
They made reference to their clothing.
The thing that I think is crazy is the fact of we're going to test them and see if they're witches. Well, how do we do that? We're going to dunk them in the water, and if they die, they weren't a witch.
Yep.
And if they live,
if they float,
they were a witch and they're dead. It's not even about the
they're
float.
gonna hang.
It's not even about floating. They just
if they live,
stick them in there, and if they live, they die. And if they die, they were good. It's terrible.
Same thing as trial by fire.
Yeah. Well,
if they live through the fire, then they get hung afterwards.
I just feel like with that, you should be all right. Well, you're a witch. No, I'm not. Well, let's test you. It's like, well, no, I don't want to.
Wasn't one of the first ones. If they hung long enough and they survived, they were a witch. They got killed. If they hung and they died, they weren't a witch.
I don't know. It's just silly.
So it's more of saving the family's name versus finding out they're a witch or not, because there was no way of saving them. If you were accused, you were done. Nothing. Same thing for your whole family lineage.
It
was just
at
done.
least this needle prick thing was okay, if I poke you and you bleed, okay, you're not a witch. But if you don't bleed, then you are a witch. At least that way you're well, if I bleed, I'm good and I'm not dead, you know?
Which I love that, because we have that. It's a toy that we have.
There's a toy,
you poke them and then they turn into a witch.
Yeah. It doesn't happen all the time, but there's a percentage chance that you can poke somebody and they'll turn into a witch, and then they just look like an old hag. What do you think the milk wars are?
I don't know. Did you know?
I don't know what they are.
From your history?
No, it's probably something from Star Wars. It was a parody of Star Wars. But I don't know what it was. Also, I think King James looked familiar to me, but I don't know who he was.
I know. Can we look that up yet?
Nope, can't look it up.
It's driving me freaking insane. Nope. His eyes, I loved his eyes. They had gorgeous eyes, and his eyelashes went on forever. And his characteristics reminded me a lot of Martin Short, but I knew it was not him.
I don't know who he reminded me of. I don't want to look up something bad. Remind me of, who do you remind me of? Alan Cumming. Kurt Wagner, he played, Nightcrawler in X-Men. Mm-hmm. He was Boris from GoldenEye. That's probably what I recognize him from. Wait, was he in Jury Duty? Is that the same guy? Because I kept thinking of Jury Duty and Biodome. Nope, it's not him. I can't remember who that guy is. So yeah, I recognize him as being Boris from GoldenEye, I think is the main thing. Maybe as a Nightcrawler.
I know I've heard his name many times.
Are you thinking of Jim Cumming?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, who's Jim Cumming?
He's a voice actor. Very popular in everything that has voice acting. He's Pooh Bear, he's Hondo, he's Pete.
But I think he did an amazing job as King James. Like his eyes and like his like theatric way of acting
Yeah.
was very enjoyable. And like the whole entire time, like all I could do is just stare at him. Of course, all I was thinking is, where do I know him from? But like he just had a very comedic way of portraying his character.
Gotcha.
And it was so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I liked him. I thought he was good.
And his King James's whole backstory, like it was just amazing to see.
I'm assuming that stuff's true. I don't know. I guess a lot of bad stuff happened to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I honestly don't know much about that King James's history at all.
Yeah.
So.
And he has the Bible, right? Isn't it King James's?
I guess it's the one that they're talking about, yeah.
Because there's different editions of it.
Which is so hard to read.
King James edition
I mean,
or whatever.
a lot of people are required to read King James, but I'm like, oh, that's so hard to read. Thee to cometh.
I haven't read it. Like most books. I thought it was going to be someone more sinister, being that guy in the mask, like walking around and sneaking and watching and stuff, but it wasn't.
Just a man of the arts.
Yeah.
That liked other men of the arts.
Yeah, that was interesting. It felt very, he took an interest to Ryan. My,
strong.
What do you call him first? My Nubian prince?
Yeah,
right? Or
something like that, yeah.
And then, yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. I wasn't sure exactly where he was going with that. I wonder if there's a history of
This
King James
strong
having,
religious man.
if King James has anything in the history that could point towards anything like that. I don't know. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. Very ballsy of Doctor Who if it was not already there in history, you know?
I don't know.
It's like, here you go, here's this very biblical man, and now we're making him gay. Mistress Savage was a very interesting role also. Whoever played her did a really good job, and just, like, the character, like, you knew that she was bad from the beginning. Like,
I mean, she was killing people.
Exactly. But, like, her backstory and everything was just fairly interesting. The fact that, like, she lost her husband. The first person we saw murdered was her own grandmother. Like, just a very interesting storyline with her that made her character enjoyable to kind of watch, especially countering with King James.
Yeah. I was wondering why we only had, like, 4 of those people, 5 of those, like, mud people walking around when she had killed, like, 36. I thought maybe we'd get more of them showing up, but we didn't. We only had a few, so.
No, because she would have been the one to murder, or was her husband. She said that her husband had done this before her and that she stepped up after he passed.
I don't remember that, but okay.
So maybe.
I thought she had killed 36 people.
I don't know if it was just her or they meant like Bilehurst in general.
Well, in the idea that she started killing people to try to save herself, so she was killing them.
Oh yeah.
When she got stabbed. I mean, I guess I don't know for certain when her husband died to when she started to cut down this tree and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think she killed 36 people.
Yeah, because otherwise she'd send out her husband to go cut down the tree. Right? This mud tentacle.
Yeah, the tendril?
Is what's filling people.
And the lingo they used with that was weird. It sounded very dirty because they're made of mud. So they're gonna fill everyone. I will fill you. We will fill him and then fill all. And I was like, okay, I don't know what to say.
And they offered to fill Willa, but she didn't want it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The king might have wanted it. I don't know.
We mentioned a little bit about the doctor versus the Graham being the general and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked how they were throwing in, we are a very flat structured team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
There's not someone ahead of somebody kind of thing, is what they were saying with that.
Yeah, I know. It's true. Like, they're...
Pretty sure the doctor's ahead of it, though. But I think in that situation,
she's been leading, letting everyone else lead them where to go. It's not like she's been leading this group. I feel like it's been fairly flat. Everyone's had everything that they can contribute.
I mean, they always look to her, though, for an answer or for what to do or a direction. You know what I mean? So,
and I feel more
but
like...
when you have her being the one who's like, oh, well, why do you have her? He's probably the leader. Like, well, we're very flat structured. Trying to be like, anyone can kind of take charge. We all work together.
Yeah. I feel like the doctor hasn't been more so of a leader, more than a guide. Like, she's not leading this team. She is guiding them for them to make decisions in this type of crisis.
Okay.
Like, in previous episodes and everything, she's just kind of like, okay, what do you think we should do? I'm just going to follow my own way, but what do you think you should do?
I don't know, I feel like she leads them more so than you think. I mean, yeah, I said, like, I want to go talk with Becca. She's like, okay, you do that, we're going to go do this. She listens to what they want, but I think usually her idea is, like, you guys do this, we're going to do this. Mm-hmm. You know, whenever... Last episode, when she didn't want to take sanitation, she gave it to Grant. Like,
sanitation.
Yeah, he had to go work and clean stuff up and stuff like that. Like, she made the decision for it. It wasn't like, well, you go do this. Like, she's like, I gotta be here. So
that's true.
She makes decisions and takes lead for things, but
yeah, I just feel like it's not as much as like all the previous doctors that have been. Like, I feel like they've been more in a leadership, take control, and then sure, we can do that. Versus she's like, okay, what's your opinion?
Maybe. I guess I haven't seen it that way, but it could be more so than others. I don't know. David Tennant with Donna was more even-footed, I think.
Well, Donna's a very headstrong character to where there was no other choice with that one. It would be like taking me on a trip.
Maybe. But when you have bigger groups and stuff like that, I feel like you gotta have someone who's taking charge, and it has to be the doctor for that. So.
And then the doctor got a speech in this one.
What?
Really? Really? It's like every speech that she has, you just completely disregard as a speech.
Can you tell me what the speech was?
Yeah, whenever she was tied up and she had a big monologue about almost a minute long.
I mean, that wasn't a speech. She was having a conversation with the doctor, or with the king.
Well,
talking about, like, the mother and that kind of stuff, right?
She was having a conversation, but then she went on to a monologue.
It wasn't a speech.
It wasn't a soliloquy, but it was a monologue.
I don't know. She hasn't had that moment for me of, like, here's the big speech moment, I don't think.
Well, it's not the big speech yet because that's she was still tied up.
When she has a speech, that's what it's going to be. If she hasn't had a speech. I feel like that was just a scene that she was talking with him, trying to reach him. And maybe she did a little bit, and that's what got her out of the water.
She was, like, giving him a little bit of a lecture about do not be afraid of what you don't understand. And just trying to say, hey, you need, like, he was on the right track of being educated, but, like, he was killing everything on the way of becoming educated. So she's like, be educated, that's fine. Just don't kill everything. Don't be afraid of what you don't understand. And I don't know. I thought it was a decent little pre-speech. Like, not a big moment for her, but it was like a little speech.
Okay.
And I thought that she did a good job. And obviously you don't if it's not even memorable.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, it was a moment, but I don't know. It was. I guess during that time too, I was also thinking about like, what are they doing with her as far as like a damsel in distress thing, and are they gonna go that way? I hope they don't go that way. So I guess I was more worried about that at the time, versus like, oh, here's not a speech.
Well, I guess at the same time, I was like, you know what? This would have been a very big moment for her if she was not tied up.
Why?
Because, like, it was a decent monologue that she was having. And the fact that they had her tied up and couldn't make it, you know, like a big moment is more of like a, okay, that was a decent monologue she was having.
Okay.
Versus, oh, wow, that was an amazing speech. So.
Gotcha.
But how did you feel about the aliens?
I mean, the one looked kind of different. We didn't have them very long. It was, I don't know. I want to know what were their war crimes? Why they were chosen to be imprisoned? I don't know. They were okay, but they weren't. I don't know. They were just
Memorable?
mud monsters. They were just mud monsters. I don't know.
I was hoping that you had some history on them.
It's a difference of like, no, I don't think they've been mentioned before. I don't remember
The
Morax.
Or Pendle Hill?
I mean, the difference too, like, it was just a person. It was just a human, you know, like, there's...
An infected human.
Like, I don't feel like visually they stand out very well. And I don't feel like, as far as, like, threatening, they stand out very well. I love the tentacle that comes out, and then you see, like, the skull kind of face on it.
Yeah.
I liked how that looked and stuff.
That was really cool, but I didn't feel like that matched the rest of the alien aspect that they were doing with the humans.
But I mean, like, Cybermen are made from humans, but they look different. And they have like in my head, they have this is what a Cyberman looks like. Mm-hmm. And that's a cool look, and weeping angels, and, you know, a silent, and there's different creatures, Daleks and stuff. They all have like a unique look, and like I can pick them out, and like that one there, they just kind of looked like people. You know, it didn't really, they were just weird, gray, muddy looking people, you know? So, I don't know. It's not my favorite, but it's not terrible. It's better than spiders. I liked it better than spiders, so that's good.
And?
But, I mean, them and the, what are they called? The,
Stupid gnat.
what are those guys called? In the
Which one?
The Stenza.
Stenza?
I don't know. It's a person with teeth shoved in his face, and it's a person with mud on their face. That's what we got, you know?
Yeah, the Stenza are a little more memorable for me because of the teeth factor.
Well, at least
That's
they had
disgusting.
like this armor stuff, and you're like, "Ooh, what is this? What's this thing gonna be? How threatening is it?" And then these guys are just like, "Oh
no, you're wrong." Like
we'll
this.
hide. Okay. Well, no, the mud's coming.
The granny did an amazing job with her face, though.
I love when she was like standing with the axe. She's like smiling. You're like, look how happy she is. She's so happy she got an axe.
It's freaky.
So, I don't know.
And then I'm sure your favorite part of the whole episode.
Oh, the Pulp Fiction quote?
Yeah. I was trying to remember the actual quote though. And then King James is like, "Oh, Ezekiel."
Yeah.
And then,
what is it? Ezekiel,
Pulp Fiction.
What is it? Like Ezekiel 2635 or something like that? I forget what the number is. But no, yeah, it's the quote Samuel Jackson uses in the Pulp Fiction and stuff, which, you know, he also uses in the beginning too when they just shoot a whole bunch of people and stuff. But no, I like that because he's like Ezekiel, like Tarantino, because it's from that. But I think some of that too isn't exactly right what's in the Bible either. Like it's kind of like some of it's there, but it's also kind of
I'm sure
scripted in and added and whatnot. So
I'm sure, but that was funny. Yeah. I like the farewell.
I had a monologue back in 8th grade in drama class where I did that. It was fun.
More like 11th, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't know. For some reason I thought I graduated in 8th grade. I don't know what I was thinking.
Okay, 12th.
I'm out of this and I'm tired. It's gone.
So, Q&As. If you guys ever want to send us a question or a comment about the episode, make sure you hashtag Who, not Hugh, Who Q&A at Blind Wave Prod. Blonde Wave.
Not Blonde Wave. That's a different one.
Go to Blonde Wave Prod. I'm pretty sure you can find some interesting stuff.
Josepher had sent in a art thing of me and Melanie from MELRON. Lana, if you can find it on Twitter, you can put it up there. It looks really cool. Thank you.
It's very accurate.
I saw it a couple days ago. I thought it was sweet. Ranting's always fun. It says, was Alan Cumming underused in this episode? He had great moments, but I feel if you have an actor of his stature on the show, he should be the main focus with a lot to do, not just a part of the episode with some side sassy comments every now and then.
I agree to a certain extent. It's more so of a cameo role, though, and he's there for, like, comedic relief. And if you're there for comedic relief, you don't want to be there throughout the whole episode because then you're a little jaded. So I thought he was meshed in fairly well.
I don't know if he was there for comedic relief necessarily, but I think he was there enough where he was able to be, like they have a good moment with him talking about, you know, his past, with the doctor talking about his mother. You know, they have good moments of talking with him and reaching him, and I don't think he was necessarily underused. I think you could have had him in there maybe a little more, but I mean, he had a good bit of screen time, and he had, I think, plenty of lines and stuff. I don't know if underused is what I would use. Maybe he could have been used a little differently, or
I guess he was only used for about half the episode, though, because we had a lot of the intro, and then he showed up.
No, not even half. I mean, the beginning was just him in the mask, and I guess
that's true, too.
I thought it was going to be a two-parter, because it felt like by the time the aliens showed up, we were already at the end of the episode.
I know.
I was like, wait, how are we going to go further and finish off what's going on here? We have not enough time, right? But, I mean, he was around for a good bit, I felt. I don't feel like he had not enough screen time, but maybe they could have done differently with him.
I did forget about him in the mask. And there was a lot of him at the beginning.
I thought he was pretty good with what they did with him. Jamie says, boring episode. There's something you said in a video a while back. The Doctor couldn't have been a female before because the first Doctor was scared to change, which means he hasn't before, and we've seen all the changes since. Said this because news site had said this theory too. Okay. I mean, things change. That's all I'm going to say. Just because he was scared of changing. I mean, I don't know. There could be plenty of other storylines or things they do or history altering things or all kinds of stuff. I mean, they threw a Doctor in there that no one knew about, but of course we hadn't seen a regeneration that occurred from 8 to 9. So
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there could be things that happen. The main thing with that is that you have many mentions of back when I was a girl or when he was a little girl or, you know, things like that have been mentioned. It's like, interesting. So, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but sure. Andy said, I'm glad there was no the aliens are misunderstood twist, and James was a fun ham. Was also hoping it would be a pure historical episode. Do you think the modern Who could do a historical episode with no aliens or time-traveling threats like classic Who did?
I felt like Rosa was trying to be like that until they threw in
India. I think India more so than that was like a very historical one. Mm-hmm. They had aliens there, but they weren't there for threatening reasons. They were just there to watch.
Witness, yeah.
So like, I think that's the closest one we've had so far. Because the Rosa one, the guy was trying to change time and interfere.
And they were just trying to keep it the same. So I feel like both of them didn't really have an alien aspect, though. Because, like...
Yeah, I mean, he was like a human or something. But I guess there was... I don't know what the classic Who historical things are, you know, like what they did. I know they used to be more educational and stuff. Mm-hmm. But the India one, I feel like the most was like, hey, here you go. You're going back, and you're basically just witnessing what happened. You know? There wasn't really a threat. There was nothing they had to defeat. They had to just watch what was happening. And they didn't have to take part in it like they did in Rosa either, to fix the time.
Yeah.
So, I think we could get into that kind of stuff a bit more, which I feel like this season has a bit has gotten into a bit more historical, like here's what's going on. But yeah, Andy, I think it's something that could be coming, and maybe the next season, because I think we're getting close to the end of this season.
Yeah, this was 8, so we only have 3 more episodes?
Something like that. Dobby says, the king was delightful. I kind of expected him to be revealed as an imposter or mind-controlled in the first 10 minutes, and he got to kill the witch. Do you think this doctor is too lenient on murder? I mean, 11th did let River kill a lot. The spider thing is the only moment that I think stands out where I'm like, I feel like a doctor would have done more in that situation.
In this episode, he killed the witch with the fire. Like, he lit her on fire. And, I mean, she
was kind of upset.
She was upset. But she didn't do much about it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe she's not too lenient. We haven't really seen her be angry. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't feel like this doctor has been angry about anything. So I'm curious on what happens when that happens. Dobby says, in this episode, the issue of the doctor's new gender was brought up much more often than the previous episodes. Did it feel too much at some point, or was it okay? I felt like it was okay. I feel like it's something you have to touch on, especially one in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Especially.
In the future, maybe not so much, but in the past, I feel like it's definitely an issue that, you know, women have had less rights, or women have had less power, or...
I should have knew she was a witch whenever she said that her name was the Doctor. Like, the fact that she had any
not even that
power.
The thing of, like, you know, assistant. Wait, but I thought it was a general. You know, the woman saw a general, thinking that it was another woman that had higher power. And then he saw an assistant because, in his mind, well, a woman can't be that high of power.
Exactly.
So, it's...
But it was done in kind of a... Like, especially by him, like they've said, his whole presence was hammy. So I don't feel like it was overdone. I just felt like it was very hammed up because his character was hammed up. So
the other thing too is, like, with the woman thing, is every raised dead mud monster was a woman. Like, we didn't see any male witches. You know, there's no warlocks. It's all just females. So, like, she was saying there, if she was a bloke, she wouldn't be having this problem because they were just after witches. They weren't after men. So, in this scenario here, I think it was...
appropriately done?
Yeah, I think so. I honestly kind of thought it was going to come up more during the Rosa Parks episode, but it didn't. In India, it didn't really come up that much either, which I thought maybe it would have been a bit.
Well, India, there wasn't too many people, you know? Like, it was just a family situation. The Rosa Parks episode was more about racism, so they didn't probably want to touch the woman part. And then this episode was all about women being killed. So,
yeah.
Because that's what most of the Salem witch trials and the witch trials in general was all about, killing women.
And then Ryan Love says, this episode and the Shakespeare Code from Series 3 both have witches and famous historical figures. Which episode dealt with the concept of witches better, and who utilized their historical figure the best?
Which episode?
There was an episode back with David Tennant and Martha where they meet Shakespeare. And they have to write, what is it? Love's Lost? What is it? Love's Labor's Lost.
Oh, okay.
An edition of the play in 1580. Okay. Anyway, so he wrote Love's Labor's Lost, and then he was writing Love's Labor's 1, and these witches were, like, changing it and making him write certain words in an order.
Yeah,
and then they were summoning these... It started with a C, I think. I don't know what it was, but they had them summoned. So they were like witches around a crystal ball and doing this stuff. And then this one here doesn't actually have witches, but it has mud monsters, which were being the witches. I think historical figure-wise, this one was better because I think Queen Elizabeth just showed up towards the end of that one. I don't know, I'll probably go with this one, I guess, on both counts.
Did they mean that historical figure or Shakespeare?
Could be Shakespeare, I guess, too.
Because Shakespeare was funny in that.
Yeah,
he
Shakespeare
used
was
very well.
He really took to Martha a lot. He liked her.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I did like Shakespeare a lot. I was thinking of the Queen, because I think she showed up at the end of it.
Yeah, and she said something at the end that tied her into...
Yeah, I forget.
Something.
I don't know.
But I think because we're talking about two different parts of history, you know, like this was the witch trials that was the main aspect of this, and it wasn't the witch trials the main aspect of that. It was Shakespeare's history that they were hitting more so of.
Yeah.
So I think historically wise, they both were done very well.
Yeah, this one, he's just asking which one you think did witches better.
Oh, like witches
in general? And then which
general?
one had a better historical figure?
Well, this one technically didn't have any witches in it.
Well, it did. It had the big...
They had the Moraxes.
Yes. That one, that one technically didn't have any witches in it either because they were an alien race. Both of them are alien races. It's just witches aren't real. Aliens are real. And then people perceive them as witches because they don't know what else to call them because they don't know of aliens. So, I would say... I mean, those ones were the traditional witches with spells and crystal ball kind of things, and then this one was like witches. So
Salem.
I think this one fit more with like historical aspect of witches and what was known as a witch. And then I guess I would choose Shakespeare as a historical figure. I liked better, but King James was pretty good too.
King James was pretty cool. I liked King James.
And that's it for Q&As, guys. Thank you so much for sending in your questions. Make sure to send them in next week.
Do we do polls for the show?
Yes, we do polls for every show.
Not Supernatural.
Every live show.
Not This Is Us.
That's your fault.
Should we? Did we like the Alan Cumming cameo? I don't know.
That's why you don't do polls on This Is Us.
Yeah.
The hardest thing with this one is that it seems to have no connection week to week. Mm-hmm. Whereas every other Doctor Who season has felt like it had some connection to the overall arcing story going on. And this one seems to not have any of that.
Is there any overarching story?
You could just say, alright guys, for the poll this week...
What's the overarching story?
No, I don't think it is.
Yeah, that can be it.
Do you guys think that they should change their clothes when they go out? Or do you think it doesn't matter and there's some kind of perception filter or something of that such?
Or should they just create psychic clothing?
No, that's ridiculous. Perception filter, Melanie.
They'd have to put a perception filter on everyone else, not themselves.
There's a perception filter type of thing already going on with the language because it can already distinguish languages between all of them. So why not just do that same thing with clothing?
But then it's putting it on everybody else's eyes. Like, it's putting the perception filter in the ears, in their own ears.
No, because the TARDIS has a perception filter, but you just don't really notice that it's there. So you have perception filter on the clothes, and they just don't really notice that they're weird.
Or that they're there.
No, you see.
Sounds like the type of clothing you want.
Do you guys think they need to be changing their clothes, or do you think there's a reason that they don't have to change their clothes? Make sure you guys let us know in the comments below if you have a reason and what that reason is, or
let us know.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think there's a perception filter on the clothes. Ow. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys go to the poll over at patreon.com/blindwave and subscribe so you don't miss out on any Doctor Who. We have Who coming out twice a week now. We have this Who, we have the other Who. But this Who's running out, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the last few episodes. They're coming.